Welcome back to Authors Espresso. I'm your host, Nadia Gilkes, and we are here with another Festival Flashback Friday. Today we are going back to 2020 and revisiting my interview with Anthony K. Robinson. At the time of the festival, he had two books, Being Married to Her and He Was My Husband Too. Since then, he's released a third book, When I Said I Do. And this is a compilation of his life story put into fiction form. Let's take a listen at this interview. Now we're traveling back to Atlanta, Georgia. So, hailing all the way from the ATL by way of Alabama, our next guest is a master in health and wellness. He is a hairstylist, an esthetician, and a massage therapist. He is truly a one-stop shop in helping people look and feel their best. He is the author of two books. So, again, another veteran on our stage. Being Married to Her is book number one. No, actually, that was book number two. Book number one, He Was My Husband Too. So if you are looking to follow Anthony K. Robinson, you want to start with He Was My Husband Too and then Being Married to Her. And these books are largely based on his life, so somewhat autobiographical, but in a fiction story. So happy to have him on the stage today. He has been my guiding light in the publishing journey. So without further ado, please help me welcome Anthony K. Robinson. Anthony, are you there?
I'm here. Hello, Nadia. Hello, fellow authors. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I'm so glad you came. Just like Verde, you and Verde were the first two people that I reached out to when I wanted to put this together. And I'm so glad that you both were able to grace the stage with me. And I can't wait for people to be exposed to your story because there is a lot to unpack in your books. Now, you didn't quite write a memoir, and it's not completely a fiction story. So tell me, what gave you the courage to put your life events in book form?
I was involved with someone that I was partnered with for 11 years, and he was taken away from me. It was his time to go. And I fell on my support. For me to be able to cope, I took my story in my life to print because I knew that I wasn't the only one that had gone through what I've gone through. So I was like, let me be able to be a voice for those that are walking through my journey and be able to speak on behalf of my late partner.
Mm. I know it was so touching to me, even having known you. There were so many things in the book that happened that I had no idea. I can't say that everybody has walked your specific journey. All I know is I wanted to kill everybody you know until I found the person that hurt you. And then I wanted to go have an impromptu wedding in Central America. And then now I'm waiting for book three to figure out what more I have to do because there's so much in your story. So losing someone that was close to you unexpectedly, there was a huge fallout from that, correct?
It was.
And what was the interaction like, if you could tell us a little bit with the fallout, the family? Because I think when we talk about estate planning, which is my passion, when we talk about having our end of life documents written out and put together, a lot of us have experienced what happens when we don't. And I think your situation fell into that a little bit as well.
Yeah. We talked about it. He and I talked about life he relocated back from the DMV. And at that time, I was living in Dallas, Texas. So we're going to move back to the house.
It's mute. Okay.
We're going to actually do some stuff together that we thought that, we'd be able to see through fruition. But life didn't happen that way. So to kind of keep it, like I said, still on a fiction base and not to reveal too much of it, there was someone that was a really close friend of mine that I thought we brought her into our circle to be able to help her in a situation, but also help my late partner. And then greed took over, and you got to see that sometimes greed take over friendship, love, and everything else. So we lived together in this very home that I'm in for about 4 years before he relocated. And family came here. His family came here. We did family vacations together. So they all knew who I was. So it was no surprise, no secret to who I was. And during his demise, I had to reveal to them because I made the calls to the family that he died. And that's when it discovered that he was married to a female.
Oh.
And they didn't recognize or they didn't honor the relationship that he and I had. So that birthed the title. He was my husband too.
Mm. And you didn't just put this in book form and help people through your journey and their own journeys just by reading your work, but you also launched some nonprofits on behalf of your late partner. Can you tell us a little bit about your nonprofits?
Sure, he died in April and he was due to graduate that December. So I knew how dedicated he was to doing the online course plus still working. And he wanted to make that happen. I know that he wanted to get his degree in psychology. So I had to be his advocate because he was no longer here to at least get the degree. So I made contacts with the school that he was graduating from, and there were some very wonderful people that heard my story and felt for me, and they gave me his degree posthumously. And I then, in turn, started a scholarship in his name to be able to help those trying to pursue the undergraduate in psychology. So I have a degree set up at Troy University. I also have a nonprofit that I work to students here in Atlanta area.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And we heard earlier that there are some stories that we don't see a lot of in mainstream. What made you self publish this story versus looking for someone to pitch it to or a mainstream retailer that can help you on the journey? What made you self publish?
I wanted my story to stay authentic and real, and I didn't want someone to take it and change it up. And then, of course, the dollar sign would force me to do it. So I feel like if I self-published it, I could still be in control of the story being replicated as if it happened with a little bit.
And also being a member of the LGBTQ community, did you run into any obstacles in sharing your story or getting your story out there or your publishing journey?
Uh, there was a little hiccup. There was someone that I actually tried to get help me write the book as a ghostwriter. And I thought he would be a great person because he was very known in the LGBT community, but he wanted me to defame my late partner's mother. And I just couldn't see me doing that because I know I have a mother and I love every female that's in my life. So I just couldn't bring myself, regardless of how she treated me, was to defame her character, fiction or nonfiction, in my book. So I decided to get the best person to finish the story, which was mm,
That's wonderful. And I think you're the first one that actually mentioned a ghostwriter on this stage so far because everybody's journey is different. We all get a book in someone's hands at the end result, but the journey is different. So having that experience with the first ghostwriter, is that something that you would attempt again or advise other people to try to do?
I would say definitely do your research and get references, check with the references, but also read over that fine print of the contract. Because to be very honest with you, the third book, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later on,
Oh, yes. I'm waiting.
I was writing for the third book.
You said you are getting a ghostwriter for the third book? Okay. Okay, and it did end up with a cliffhanger at the end of book 2, so I'm glad you brought it up. When can we expect book number 3?
Uh, I'm hoping by the first quarter of 2021. My hope was for it to publish a book this past February, but life threw me a curveball and I decided to change up some of the characters and some of the facts is going to happen in the book. So therefore, I'm changing it up a little bit. And the ghostwriter and I, she really wants to try and put it out the end of this year, but I want to give it till next year to make sure it's done to my satisfaction. And just give the reader a little bit of time to wait a little bit longer. But all those that haven't read the first or second book, time to purchase and read them.
Absolutely, because you definitely can't jump into the series in the middle, so you need to start with the first one, He Was My Husband Too, and then being married to her, and then is there a title for the next one that we can look for?
When I said I do.
When I Said I Do. I can't wait because I know some of the backstory that's probably going to find its way into book number 3. And like I said before, I'm not sure if everybody has walked in your shoes, but I can tell you the books are incredible. And I thank you for being, again, my guiding light when I was going through the journey because I knew that you already had 2 books out. So anytime I had a question, you were there for me to just answer questions, or you just seemed to text or call at the right moment. Like, I know what the journey's like. So you're probably feeling this right about now, but keep going. So those calls and text messages meant so much to me. So, what message do you want people to take away from your books?
Love is love. It has no vision of color, sexual orientation, religious background, wealth, or any of that. So when you see two people in love, just be happy for them. I know a lot of times we look at a person where someone's being tall or short or wide or thin, whatever the case may be. You don't know how they complement each other. You don't know what they give to each other. So just be happy for them without knowing the story.
I love it. And for somebody who's contemplating jumping into the writing world, or maybe they're on the fence about putting their story out there, because it does take a lot of courage, what would your advice to them be?
I would definitely say that we all have these little things we call our cell phones on us all the time.
Mhm.
So whether it be an iPhone or Android, you have the clip notes, you have the notes in your phone. When you're sitting around doing nothing, if something comes to your mind, just put it in. And when you get to that, whether it be a ghostwriter or co-writer or whatever the case may be, use that person to help you try to put it in together when it's time to actually start the editing part. So when you're having those thoughts, or they have, I forgot some kind of fly, dragonfly, I think it was. I talked too fast, and there's a list, but I was like, "Psh, I'm not doing this." A dragonfly would be good too, that you could put on your phone, or actually have a device where you can record into your computer, and they will, type it out for you. Uh, Watch your support group. Those that really love you and support you, that's going to be there with you and for you. Like you said, I text you at the right time, and there's been a few people that's on your calls that I loved and I pushed them, I supported them
Mhm.
because I had that too. You know, I had people that was pushing me and supporting me, and they're with me throughout the whole time, you know? So I would just say, don't give up. And we all go to those closed doors. Someone may tell you no, they're just not the door for you. So just be patient and keep going till you get to that right person at that right door.
I love it. Well, we have gotten so much feedback in the chat just about your background. So I want to say that me and Tony live to be extra, and your breakout session is no different. So, what are you bringing us in your breakout session? Are you acting out a scene from the book?
I've got two scenes, which will be very, very brief, but we're going to have like two scenes. So I
I
have
love
two
it.
characters from my book here with me. One is my best friend, like a sister to me, and the other one is my niece, who's like a sister to me. So COVID couldn't stop them from traveling across the miles to be here with me, to love me, support me. And because I talk fast, how would I get excited? So we have a narrator that's a really good friend of mine that's going to be reading, so the readers can actually hear and get the dialogue and the message from the story.
I love it. I might have to sneak into the breakout session because I want to see this production. But again, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for gracing the stage. I know that as with every other author on here, that you are giving someone inspiration and encouragement right now. So thank you for having the courage to share your story. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Anthony K. Robinson. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Authors Espresso. This has been another festival flashback. Please follow us on Facebook, Authors Espresso, and be sure to check in every Tuesday where we air new episodes. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.